The perfect timing. It is late, it is quiet, there's nobody around. Good evening. It is Debbie Q, and you're listening to The Right Shoe. It is the perfect time to tape something like this. Coming up, there's not too much stranger than this. The Right Shoe is a podcast about all things strange and unusual, especially in reference to a death. And this focuses on more than one death. And first, I just want to play you a little something. Okay, that, my friends, was Mayhem, one of their concerts. And it just, when I was listening to a lot of their music to try to figure out a lot of things about the band, because I had read so much about them throughout the years. When I heard that it was on a documentary called Pure Fucking Mayhem. I have to curse during, I usually don't curse during my podcast. I make it a point, but in this one I pretty much have to because of certain aspects. That, when I don't even know where to start. Mayhem is like a Greek tragedy to me. I think it fits the definition of a Greek tragedy perfectly. In ancient Greece, a popular form of theater was Greek tragedy. Tragic tales involve those who strive for greatness but were brought down low by a combination of fate and their own human flaws. Like destiny, the story moves toward an inevitable tragic climax despite the character's best efforts to avoid this tragic climax. The inevitable was part of this Greek concept, the idea of experiencing intense emotions in a safe environment was a healthy purging, a refreshing of the spirit. I mean, it gave me a little bit of insight into why I've always been into the dark, the mysterious, the horrific, because I guess I need that. Okay, I'm not truly a part of it, but I'm focusing on it. Is that cleansing my spirit? I don't know. But it just gave me insight into why I am so attracted to things like this. I always feel such sympathy, especially for mothers of those that have lost their children in any kind of a tragedy. That is truly horrific to me. It's unnatural. So therefore, it doesn't follow the rules of nature. You know, you're born to your parents die first, and that's the cycle of life. So therefore, when things like this happen, it's unnatural, and maybe that's why I'm so fascinated with it. I don't know. I just question a lot of the psychology. People fascinated with true crime in general. I'm totally getting away, of course, to the original concept of what I'm talking about. This podcast is about Mayhem, the band. Mayhem, which started in the 80s. There was a band called Venom, and different than punk rock, different than anything they had seen before, There was a guy. Now these names are, although I can spot them a mile away, saying them is another issue. I'm better with their stage names than with their real names. Westeen Arseth, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He would be known as Euronymous. They would all take on their theatrical names. So I prefer to go by their theatrical names because they're easier for me to pronounce. Now, Euronymous, he really thought Venom had something that he had never seen before. It was completely mind-blowing to him. He would soon even say, oh, they're what we used to call posers. We're far more hardcore than them. So they would even surpass, by a series of mind-boggling incidents, what became known as Mayhem. Before I get into Mayhem, I have to do several things. Okay, now, as you know, this is The Right Shoe. I want to talk about a few little business-related issues for your own benefit. You could win, and this is fabulous. I mean, this book is fantastic. It's a poetry book called Before the Big Bang Makes a Sound by Carolyn Kingins. It is fantastic. I am not a poetry reader by nature. When I first bought this, I was just amazed. Carolyn Kingins has a way with words that it really gets to your heart. If you want a good poetry book, you can win this book. She has a few copies. I'm not sure how many, but I think it's more than one. So please email me at debbieq@therightshoe.com. The email link is in my website, therightshoepodcast.com. It's right on the first page. If you like Instagram better, which seems to be how I really connect with my listeners, ShopaholicDeb44. Again, that's ShopaholicDeb44. The Right Shoe moniker is right on there. DM me that you want to be a part of Carolyn Kingins' poetry giveaway, and I will put you in to win the book. Also, for this month, the month of November, it is Fabulous Female, and my pick of the month is Marissa Bones. She's from South Africa, and she has the most outstanding podcast, True Crime Bones. That is True Crime Bones. And she is my fabulous female for the month of November. I am going to give her, I have many ebooks, True Crime, and I will get together with her and she can figure out which one she wants. I really suggest that you check out her podcast because she does these very original podcasts. Different. You will not find the stories anywhere else. They are truly original and she really researches them. I love it. Marissa, I love you. And you are the fabulous female for the month of November. Again, therightshoepodcast.com is my website. This time for Mayhem, I'm going to have a few pictures that there's one picture of one of the members that I'm going to talk about that you would love to see because this picture is truly haunting. The pictures will be on the website. So, wow, that picture it's terrifying. It's just terrifying. I do think he was a ghoul. I mean, I think he was a genuine zombie in real life, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so back to Westeen Arseth. And he was the groundbreaker, the father of black metal, they call it. He started the band 1984, and he got a couple of his friends together. I'm pretty sure the initial, I know Necro Butcher was there from the beginning, and his real name is pronounced Jorn Stubberit, I believe. He was a part of Mayhem from the beginning. It was Necro Butcher on bass guitar, Euronymous was guitar. There was a guy very briefly named Messiah, yet my Necro Butcher in that documentary, Pure Fucking Mayhem, he says that oh God, here it comes. It's the siren. Sorry. I'm going to have to hold on. It is 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's helicopters and this going on. It's nonstop. I thought I'd get a break because I was doing it so late. Okay, so at least it gets me a little more comfortable because I start getting aggravated and then I can loosen up a bit. I'm actually a little nervous about doing this because I want to portray just how, I don't know, like I read so much. I went on YouTube so much, and some people, when I first found out about Dead, I don't even remember. Maybe I saw his picture. There's a guy named Dead. When I first saw his picture and I started reading about the band, I truly got terrified one night. I mean, an out-and-out panic attack, because I don't know. I don't know what it is about this band, the origin, just the black metal songs, and it just terrified me. And I really, and then I go on and everyone's like, oh, this is such a joke now. It was scary back then. And I don't know, when you're young, I think you have a different concept of life. Like, you're invincible when you're young. I know, I was there. I felt invincible. And I truly was. Oh my God, in my 20s, I was an angry, maniac. I would just... I was crazy. I mean, I did everything in excess, and nothing was too hardcore for me. And I guess that but you know what? It's true. You get older and you look back and you become the older people that you looked at and think, oh my God, what is wrong with them? And I don't know how it happens. I honestly don't. But then I go back and look to this and I'm like, this was truly terrifying. And then I read all these people like, oh, this is such a joke. It's so cheesy. And I'm like, oh, and I'm scared to death. I'm a panic attacks reading about it. So it's this, I don't know. View it as you see it. But to me, I think this whole story is terrifying. So they form a band. It's Euronymous, Necro Butcher, Messiah briefly, but yet that's what I was saying. In the documentary, Necro Butcher says, maybe if we would have stuck with Messiah from the beginning. Now, he says Slayer. He says we would have been as great as Slayer. Now, when I was younger, I heard about Slayer, but at that time, rap had just come out. And I'm telling you, it blew everything out of the water. As Northeast Philly kids, it was like Run DMC, LL Cool J, and that was it. I mean, it's just the way it was. I mean, there was Metallica and stuff like that, but at that time, rap had just taken over. So I don't remember any parts of metal back then except for Metallica. Metallica kind of reigned supreme from the beginning. And Black Sabbath, that was always, that's like your standards. And Black Sabbath was actually, they used that as an inspiration, which I agree with, because Masters of Reality is what got me through college. Into the Void, if you can get a hold of Masters of Reality by Black Sabbath, Into the Void was my go-to song. It just touched something in my soul, and it really got me through some hard times. To go back to what he was saying that he believed he could be as big as Slayer was, but I don't know. Was Slayer that big? I don't know. I really don't. I was never into the heavier metal, like the death metal and all that. And that's another thing. I never even realized there was difference between black metal and death metal. Online, as a definition, as far as lyrical content is concerned, black metal bands use symbolisms more often than literal details in their lyrics. Death metal bands do the opposite. They throw in unembellished details of the acts themselves. In terms of vocals and instrumentation, death metal employs extreme brutality, intensity, and speed. That's what they say is the difference between death metal and black metal. Black metal is not the same as death metal. Death metal is from USA and Sweden and has growled and harsh vocals, whereas black metal is mainly from Norway and has high-pitched screams, which is interesting because, wow, that is really interesting, because two of the main players of this, which is Euronymous and Dead. His real name was Per Olin. He was from Sweden, and Euronymous was from Norway. So that is very interesting. I hadn't read that before. So they got together, and they had a drummer at the time who has another name that the first name seemed to be the hardest for me. His last name is Mannheim. Kjetil. Jetel? I don't know. The K or the J must be silent. But his last name's Mannheim. That's how they pretty much refer to him as. He was the drummer. He was replaced quickly by Hellhammer, who I have to say, both of these drummers are hot as hell, even to this day. I mean, my God, one thing that Mayhem did do right is there's some of them are smoking hot. Hellhammer looks like a kid. He's my age, and he is, whew. And so is Mannheim. I don't know where they got these drummers. Whatever the water is in the water of Norway is pretty fucking good. Now, Messiah left very quickly to do hardcore punk, or Oi music, they called it. OI music. That's what it claimed. And Oi music is a subgenre of punk rock that originated in so he left to do punk rock, basically. He really avoided some shit, I'll tell you. We got this band together, and the problem with this band is they were fantastic, but it doesn't seem like they could ever make a record. There's a few EPs, there's a few lives, there was a few things here and there, but they had trouble getting together, the group. So they're trying to get together. Euronymous is really the backbone of the band. He supposedly was a real pain in the butt. Very cocky, I guess, as the band started to grow. And he was, Necro Butcher was also there since the beginning, but I guess Euronymous started it. But Necro Butcher does not have the ego that apparently Euronymous did. Necro Butcher, even to this day, comes off as very humble. He seems like a really good guy. They all do. They all come off really well, actually, when they're speaking. So I think there was issues with other things. They have this band, and they're in Norway, and they get a guy called Maniac, and he's with the band, and he fit that group. He joined the band after Messiah had left. Now, he leaves, but they don't really say initially. They give a reason why. He was in the band twice. Once in 1986, and he left in 1988, and then he came back after 1995, but then he was replaced again by another singer. But there was a different reason why in 1995 he was replaced. Again, that's what threw me when I read about the Swedish versus Norway difference, because in 1988, Maniac was replaced by somebody who would become forever known as a black metal icon, and his name was Dead. His real name was Per Olin. So he had sent, this is what you did back in the day, was sent cassette tapes with your demo. Well, he sent it to Mayhem with a crucified mouse. Necro Butcher said when they opened it, it stunk so bad that they were like, what the heck is that? And it was this crucified mouse with his tape in there. And they had thrown it in the back of this truck, and he said, thank God he had left his name on the cassette, or we would have never known how to get in touch with him. So they just called him in Sweden to come and, try out, and he just moved. He packed up all his stuff, and there he is. And they said the first time they met him was kind of funny. They didn't speak Swedish, and he didn't speak Norwegian. They couldn't really communicate, so they had to speak in English to each other. And then eventually they broke it down and they were able to communicate. And he was just so into the theatrics. His face, his look is synonymous with black metal. I mean, that's what drew me to this story, was the picture of him and Euronymous. I will put all of these pictures on the website, therightshoepodcast.com. Therightshoepodcast.com is simply the pictures that go with each podcast. I wish I could make it as elaborate as I wanted to, but regardless, all these pictures were on there. The first picture I ever saw was of Dead and Euronymous. That's what drew me to the story. Now he comes. There was a lot of issues with Dead. He did not only look the part, he lived the part. There is a disease called Cotard syndrome, also called walking corpse syndrome or Cotard's delusion. People believe that parts of their body are missing. They believe they are dying or dead or they don't exist. They think that he may have had Cotard syndrome. This is due to several things. In 1991, when they were just trying to get to this album, which would become possibly the most notorious black metal album of all time, De Mysteriis Dom Sathanas, which in translation means Lord of the Mysteries of Satan. Unfortunately, he worked on it, but he would not be the singer on the album because of what happened. They think he had this Cotard's disease. Now, they said he was always extremely depressed. They believe it was from several things. When he was little, there's been two different stories. His brothers had said when he was a young child, he was bullied tremendously, and one day they beat him up so bad that his spleen ruptured. However, it was also said that his spleen ruptured after an ice skating accident. Either way, he was in the hospital due to this, and they declared him clinically dead. After a few years of this incident, his fascination with death began, and that's where the name Dead had come from. But also he would do some strange things. He would bury animals under the ground, or find dead animals. He wouldn't kill them. He would bury them under the ground, or he would bury his clothes under the ground so he would smell like death. And I have to be honest, I got the book by Necro Butcher, The Death Archives. I am not lying. This book stinks so bad. The smell is ungodly. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if I just got it from an old bookstore. I ordered it through the mail. I don't remember where I do remember where I ordered it from, but I don't know where it came from. But I'm telling you, it reeks of death. I mean, that's what it smells like. Every time I open it, I have to hold it like 6 feet away. The smell is god awful. But that's how he wanted to be. So he would dress in these stinky old clothes, and he was obsessed with death. Now, him, Hellhammer, and Euronymous were in this house in Krakstad, which was like a little tiny house in the woods in Norway, and they were writing and stuff. Dead and Euronymous were starting to get on each other's nerves, and I heard Euronymous was not the most easygoing person to get along with. Dead was trying to sleep. He had trouble sleeping, and Euronymous was playing this synth music that Dead hated. So Dead was trying to sleep in the woods, anything to get away from Euronymous. I think they were really getting on each other's nerves. Hellhammer, who seems like a really laid back guy, he was probably watching this like, oh my god, I think Hellhammer just kind of sat back, and even in interviews, he just seems like a really cool guy. Not that I don't know Euronymous or Dead. I'm just saying, I can just vision Dead and Euronymous driving each other crazy, and Hellhammer kind of sitting back and like, oh my god, you guys, what the frick. Euronymous would shoot a shotgun in the air. I mean, Euronymous was supposedly, he would like threaten people. Oh, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you, and stuff like that, and really piss people off. And now this goes like, with anything else, you get these people that do that fuck with people, and then you can only do that so long, and then you're going to meet somebody that doesn't want to be fucked with, and that's when the problems start. So Dead was depressed. I did read there was mothers of the other guys in the band where he would eat dinner at the house, and they said like he wouldn't even look at you. He was very shy. The other members would say like he just didn't talk, and he became more and more depressed. He just didn't want to live. And it breaks my heart to hear that, because, you know, he was a cutie. I remember when I was going through the websites, and the one girl was like, oh, well, Dead was the cutest and blah, blah, blah. So he was a cutie pie. So I would imagine that people would want to mother him, but he was just fascinated with death, and his mental state was getting worse. Hellhammer said that he just sat in his room, became more and more depressed. He wouldn't come out. Euronymous and Dead were getting on each other's nerves more and more. On April 8th, 1991, Dead comes into the house, uses a hunting knife to slit his wrists and his throat, and he's walking around the house like this. Blood's going everywhere, and then he picks up a shotgun and blows his brains out. Now, he writes this note that says, "Excuse the blood, but I have slit my wrists and neck. It was the intention that I would die in the woods so that it would take a few days before I was found. I belong in the woods and have always done so. No one will understand the reason for this anyway. To give some semblance of an explanation, I am not human. This is just a dream, and soon I will wake. It was too cold and the blood kept clotting. Plus, my new knife is too dull. If I don't succeed dying to the knife, I will blow all the shit out of my skull. Yet I do not know. I left all my lyrics by Let the Good Times Roll, plus the rest of the money. Whoever finds it gets the fucking thing. As a last salutation, may I present life eternal. Do whatever you want with the fucking thing, pal. I didn't come up with this now, but 17 years ago." That was the translation from Sweden. So he dies. Some of the lyrics became part of the song Life Eternal, which a lot believed were finished by Atilla Csihar, which would become the singer soon in the story. And he also wrote Freezing Moon. He wrote a lot of the big songs on I wish I could pronounce it the way it's supposed to be pronounced. De Mysteriis Dom Sathanas. Does that sound good? Okay, so he blows his brains out. Now, Euronymous comes home. He said he can't get into the house, and he's trying everything. I think he finally looks into a window, and I don't know if this is when he's seen Pal dead, or if he got into the house and then saw Pal dead. What does he do? He runs out and gets a camera from the store. Not only that, but he started, like, not staging the scene, but he started putting stuff so that the knife was on top of the gun, arranging the scene so that he could take a picture, which is mind-blowing. That's, pardon the pun, but it is ultimately on the bootleg front Dawn of the Black Hearts album, this picture of Dead. And it's a very sickening picture. Now, he calls Necrobutcher and says something to the effect of, "Do you believe this cool thing that Pell did?" And Necrobutcher, who truly speaks highly of Dead to this day, I mean, you can genuinely tell that he was hurt by his friend's death. Where, now, I don't know Euronymous. I didn't know Euronymous. From what I heard, he was a kind of an asshole. But I can't imagine that he was entirely jumping for joy that his friend died. So this was the legend. The legend was that he took bits of the brain and made them into necklaces to give to his friend. Now, that's been refuted. I don't think anybody will know if that's true or not, because I've read things that say it's true. I read things that say it's not true. I just know that when he called Necrobutcher was devastated. He actually left the band over this, because he was like, this is not cool. I don't consider this, anything but horrific. And he was pissed and upset. So he leaves the band. Euronymous, I think he had called briefly a cultist. Then he had called Atilla Csihar to join the band. Then he also called this guy named Varg Vikernes And he had been doing like a one-man band called Burzum. He was in his own right a great guitar player. So he starts with the band. Now, at this time, now I'm reading some of the things, and it's true. To put it gently, Mayhem's Necro Butcher calls Euronymous a big fucking asshole. This guy seems like a piece of work. So he's going on with the band. He's trying to get this album made. There's also arson starting, and it was like a political statement, and people were burning churches. Varg Vikernes, he is also known as Count Grishak. He was a part of this. He was with Euronymous during this time. Now, Euronymous had opened a record store. It was called Helvete. It translates to hell in English. It was quite the record store. People were just, well, they have some really cool pictures of it. It would, promote shows for metal musicians. Of course, with what just happened with Dead, in his mind, he was elevating himself, becoming more and more egotistical as the days went on. The shop's existence was short-lived. It was shut down because the rent was high. They said the attention from the police and the media didn't help, especially with these burning churches. I think they pretty much knew who was doing it, and that guy was Varg. It was during this time that I guess Varg had signed a contract with Euronymous. Now, this happens frequently everywhere. When you're young, when you're starving, when you want to make it, you'll sign just about anything to get your name out there. Well, here, I think Euronymous would come on like a friend, and it sounded like he would be an asshole. He started saying that Varg owed all this money, and you owe me your next 4 albums. And that was Varg Vikernes. I hope again, the names. He's saying that he owes him all this money. He owes his next 4 albums. And Varg was getting furious. And then he would keep saying he was going to kill them. And like I said, this time he did it to the wrong person, because one night he was in Oslo, Euronymous. They got in a fight on the phone. Euronymous was like, oh, well, we'll sign it, and Necro Butcher, knowing both of them, or knowing Euronymous even more, said what happened was probably Varg was like, let's settle this now. And Euronymous was probably like, oh, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to take all your money. Well, Varg drove to Oslo, which was apparently a far drive. He said he really... whether he had the intent to do this that night, I'm not sure. When I first heard all these stories, I thought he was avenging Dead's death. I didn't realize that he was actually furious because of the money situation. And he went to his house. They started getting into a fight. There was a bit of pushing and shoving. Glass had broken, and there was blood in the apartment, and they were kind of pushing back and forth. Euronymous had cut himself. Varg said that he had pulled a knife on him. There was another band member there, Snore Blackthorn. Varg, he went to that point of no return. To me, it sounds like, even though he did drive that far and he kind of was pissed off, I think at some point when he saw Euronymous and Euronymous is laughing in his face, he ran after him and he stabbed him, and he said, I couldn't stop myself. I seen one interview on YouTube of Varg talking about it. I think he was still in jail at the time. He had claimed self-defense, but what happened was he said that he just got to that point of no return. He said, as I was chasing after him, I kept telling myself, don't do this, and yet he couldn't stop it. And he stabbed him, and he died. Euronymous died. So here you have Dead and Euronymous both dead. No, Necro Butcher had heard about this. He could and he couldn't believe it. It seems like, I remember my friend Greg. May you rest in peace forever, Greg. Greg Budaraki was his name. He was one cool dude, and he loved this kind of black metal scene. He used to tell me about this band, but that long ago, I was so into my own scene. I was very young. Regardless, it's just, I remember him talking about it. So you're thinking, oh my God, that sounds so badass. can you believe that happened? That's the coolest thing ever. And that's how people looked at it back then. You know, to somebody who was in there and wanted their band to succeed, to someone like Necro Butcher, who really seems like a genuine, cool guy, an artist who wanted to have his band succeed. It didn't, and he was furious. It kind of sucks. And he said, so then he wanted to get, after this is all over, he did get Mayhem back together. He recruited Maniac, who was with them right before Dead. And in the meantime, the album come out, De Mysteriis, I love the name of this album, De Mysteriis Dom Sathanas. In the meantime, Euronymous had contacted a guy named Atilla Csihar to be the singer. Now, he was from Hungary, so some felt that his Hungarian background did not fit with the Nordic. Well, everyone seems to love Attila. I mean, whatever happened back then, he's very much loved. Now, for that album, it was Euronymous, Hellhammer, Attila, and Varg Vikernes. They are on that album, and that is like considered the greatest black metal album of all time, or if not the greatest black metal album, the most influential black metal album. And it does have a lot of Pell's lyrics on it, especially Freezing Moon always sticks out in my head. So it's unfortunate that the band was constantly, you know, giving and taking. Now, after this, after Euronymous died, there was another shuffling around, and Necro Butcher had recruited Maniac, because Maniac was from the original band. But Maniac, and he does, I mean, if you look online, you can see that, you know, he fits the part. I mean, he looks fantastic. He fits right in. I don't know vocally why he told Attila, you know, Attila had said in this one documentary, you know, he told me, like, I am the first in line. If anything happens with Maniac, I am first in line. Why he didn't keep him, maybe he was trying to get back to the original lineup of Mayhem. Alls I know is, and then some had things to say about Attila's voice. You know, everyone's always got something to say. So that's kind of why Maniac was, for a brief period after the death of Euronymous, was the singer. But they said drugs, alcohol, and basically the success of the band got to him, and he had to leave. It's something that he just couldn't keep up with. So they did recruit Attila back, and I am not a heavy metal, death metal kind, or I shouldn't say heavy metal. I am not a death metal aficionado. So to me, I think Attila, you know, he seems like such a cool guy. I've seen many interviews, and of course I'm partial to him, because after I had read, one day I was sitting here and I mentioned the group Mayhem, and I was amazed at the response I got. It was very much a surprise. I really, I had people emailing me, and I don't get a lot of emails, but I do get them. This particular time, I got a lot of emails, and I was really surprised at how much people said, we want to hear the story of Dead. So I said, well, let me try to, I don't know, I contacted the manager, and I said, can I, you know, talk to one of them? And I think he was nervous about me asking about Pell, because I feel that they've done that over and over and over again. So he said right away, you know, are you going to ask about that? Because I don't think anyone's going to want to talk about it. And I said, no, I really would like to just, and it's the truth, that is in the past. And I wouldn't want to talk about my dead friend Greg anymore. I mean, I would want to talk about him in a good way, but I wouldn't want to talk about what happened over and over and over, because it just makes you depressed again. So I understood that completely. I just wanted to talk to one of them about what it's like to be in a band, and just to talk. I mean, to me, they're all legends. They've been around since the 80s, and they have so many different groups, and the way they've maintained that in the one interview, Necro Butcher said he's maintained that aggression because their fans are so aggressive, and even their enemies, even the ones that I said, oh, they're posers now and all that, it makes them aggressive. It's still, you know what that does? When you have haters and stuff, it puts you on an edge. It gives you that fight, that fire. So don't ever hate your haters, or don't even let your haters get you down, because they're there for a reason. And the more people that hate you, F them. You're who you are. And that only makes you stronger. Trust me on that. I've had a lot of haters in my life, and I laugh at them. I don't give a shit. I'm telling you, it works to your advantage. Trust me on that. So Attila, I believe, has his haters. I believe, everyone has their haters. But Attila agreed to do an interview with me, and I thought he was like the most charming, kindest person. He was funny, and the interview I taped 2 months ago, I emailed him saying, I hope you're not angry, because I taped him 2 months ago and I never got the interview. I'm sure he's hardly worried about me, but I just want him to know how much I appreciated it, because I think he really, not only does he come off very cool, but I was watching that documentary and he does something. This was filmed in 2008, so he was younger and his hair was still rather long. And he did something that, oh my God, I forgot how popular. Now in my day, it was long hair. Everyone had long hair. And that was the guy thing. It was just you had long hair, and that was hot and that was cool and whatever. He had that long hair, and he kept flipping it back and forth, and I forgot with those little combs, those little freaking goody combs that the guys used to have in their back pocket of the white tight jeans and pull out, and then they'd brush their hair, and then they'd flip that hair back and forth. Oh my gosh, that is so 80s, and that is so, it just brought back memories to me. I forgot about that. I remember when everyone cut their hair. It was crazy. Like all of a sudden everyone just cut their hair. But anyway, eventually what happened was, after Maniac deemed that there was no way he could go on with that kind of lifestyle, Attila, now the lineup is Necro Butcher, Attila, and two gentlemen, Telak and Ghoul. They are the current lineup. I do want to name the notable members: Euronymous, Maniac, Dead, Count Grishnak, which was Varg, Blackthorn, who was there the night that Varg killed Euronymous, and Blasphemer. He was there from 95 to 2008. He currently plays with other bands. Not sure why, he left, but he seems like a good dude too. They all do. But it's a great story, and of course we're gonna have Attila next. But I also want to say, for another group of people that have asked, Julie Barniak she's coming up. She's going to be my next podcast episode. Suburban Philadelphia girl who went to school with girls that I know. She called her dad one night from a bus station. The parents said the phone was slammed down while she was speaking. The dad got there 20 minutes later and she was gone, never to be seen or heard from again. So that's coming up. Remember, therightshoepodcast.com. This is Debbie Q, and you're listening to The Right Shoe. And don't forget about that Attila interview. So how are you?
It's fine. I just got home. So
it's good.
Perfect timing.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did your CBD go the other night?
It was really, really great. You know what? I might send you some photos.
Oh my God, that would be great.
If you like to mention this in our
absolutely.
I'm very glad to do that. I had it for years in my head, actually. I always played with the idea of a CBD, at least the last couple of years. And I think now that this COVID fucking Armageddon is going on, it's more actual than ever. Finally, I had the time also to work on this. And I think you guys in US, for you, it's more regular. You guys having it for a long time now, the CBD stuff. In Europe, it's just coming up now, And of course, it's been around some countries, like, every country is different here as well, like Switzerland or Austria, they had it for a while. Some other countries, they don't have it so much, but it's still, I hope it's still interesting, and my brand is like this. I can send you a flyer, actually. It looks really fucking cool. It's 6.66%, I really like it. It really has this kind of cool metal look, a black metal look or vibe to it, It's really nice. On the 5th of October, this is the plan. We will see how it goes, but...
Oh, wow.
So it's really, and the harvest was amazing. Like, we have like these hectares of weed, and with a big tractor. I was on the tractor. I was like, doing all this funny shit, coming with my car, like a movie. My son was directing it, he's like a director, like he's qualified for movie direction thing and stuff, and he's writing scripts at the moment and all the stuff, and his best friend is the cameraman, the photographer, and like they were super cool, and they made some really cool stuff, which actually it's been yesterday, so it's really too early to send you anything. I saw a couple of shots. It looked really promising.
Cool.
I hope I'm glad to share your emotion.
Exactly.
Just give me a little time until I we got something like cool, like with the post-production, everything, to do that. Yeah, thank you anyway.
Oh, no problem. That would be cool as crap. Yeah, I'll put it right up there. Because on my website, I have like a lot of people, they always, like a writer, she put her book and, like the link to her book and like a poem that matches. It all kind of corresponds with the...
Cool. Well,
yeah.
The next thing I'm doing is also something, if you are talking about it, might be interesting.
Yeah.
It's also for human consumption, is a booze. I want to make this black metal booze. My signature again, and it's going to be made from poppy. Poppy? But they make the
yes.
that flower.
Oh, and that sounds really cool.
in Hungary, it's legal because it's part of our tradition, to have the poppy seeds in the cakes and stuff, So you can find a poppy.
Oh, man, that's cool.
In Hungary, it's also, which is a very big tradition of this, I don't know how to say in English, but when you cook the drink, like a booze, like from like fruits, like apple, pear, peach, plum, all these different, and also you can do it from the poppy, and this is one of my favorite drinks. That's why I want to do it. Like, also the CBD, I love it. I read it. It's really cool for sleep. It's good for your, chills you a bit out, and it's good. Apparently, it's very good for your immune system, which is good in these days, I guess.
Yeah, right. I mean, so the poppy, like, you have poppy plants?
Sorry?
You have poppy plants? Is that, how does it come?
No, but I team up with a dude who is, because I can't make the good stuff, but he's like the professor of booze, I must say. He's teaching at the university, and he's a metalhead, and I gave him my idea. He was super excited, and I mean, also I could send you a picture of that guy, like also like, that I was at his, like, it's a family handmade, like a brewery, or I don't know how to say, when they cook this stuff. He has so many awards already, not of the poppy, but all the other stuff he made, like this other kind of, we call it palinka, in Hungarian. That's the type of booze. And also, even you can find one of these, like normally they are like 50 degrees, so a pretty strong one.
Okay.
Because below, it's also you can do softer, but it's good. Like I want to do at least 50%, I think, or maybe it's going to be 2 edition, one for like girls, more like Elizabeth Bathory edition, let's say, like 33 degree or something.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do 66, which is a problem is the 66 degrees, like a bit too much in some countries. It might have a problem of like legalization, like, it's a bit too strong.
Okay,
like,
right.
But for the taste, it's amazing, and it looks black. The color is pitch black. The taste is something like it's bitter, but also a bit sweet with this poppy flavor. It's super cool.
Sounds.
It's not like you want to drink the whole bottle, but you definitely want to have another shot.
Sounds
Yeah,
cool.
that's Attila's opium ritual spirit. That's gonna be the name.
Oh, that's great.
Or something like that. Actually, that's what I'm thinking now about. And opium, the same plant, but of course it's not gonna contain any opium. Or
Right.
just a very, 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 very minor level which you can't avoid, but you're not gonna get high from it.
Yeah,
Of course,
yeah.
I mean, that would. But the taste and the idea, I think it's totally cool and it's totally metal. It's drink and it's strong, and at the same time it's very drinkable. It's kind of like you feel the appetite. I guess not everybody, but who likes this a little bit bitter, like this kind of flowerish taste. It's really, really cool.
Oh, that sounds good.
That's why it's been also a few years I had it in my head, this idea. So it's not just came out just out of nothing like now, but since we had this COVID Armageddon,
it is an Armageddon. Absolutely.
It is like the fucked up ever had, and it's like now I thought, okay, now at least I have some free time. I'm not on tours, because when we are touring, I'm almost have something every month, if not with Mayhem, with one of my other bands. So I never rest, I never have time at home. So, and these projects, you need at least some time.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
It, you can't do it like always with breaking up, like for shows and tours. So now it's good, and
yeah, because it's a popular thing now. Like even here, we have a lot of like stores that, like you said, like with alcohol or with any product, they get it, they put their name behind it, and it just increases the sales because it reminds them of that brand.
Motorhead vodka, or Motorhead famous.
Yes.
Look at, of course, Iron Maiden beer and stuff, but for me, beer is like, it's cool, but I like regular beer. So I only want to brand something what I personally really like, not just like to give my name for anything,
Right.
And beer, I like Pils or lager, very commercial beer, more like. I don't like so much the IPA. I can drink few, but, it's not really my thing, Same with wine.
I know what you mean.
It's very rare that I drink that. Maybe a glass of red wine sometime, and
yeah.
But it's not like I'm a big
wine drinker. Yeah,
so
me neither.
It's like that thing is like so sophisticated, and it's so snobby to me, like wine. Some wine is like hundreds of euros,
Yes.
The next wine is maybe €30, and I can see the difference between €5 wine or €10 wine to a €50 wine, but then from the 50 to the 300, I don't know. It's better, it's kind of really difficult, and
you wonder if there's a really taste difference or if it's just like people put it in your head. I know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a friend, a very, very good friend of mine in France, in Paris. And sometimes we have a big party at his place. It's really cool, and we got shit-faced. And then he's like, let's go down to the wine cellar. We're like, no? Okay. So he goes down, and he's like, okay, he's opening this like €500 wine. I'm like, dude, really? I mean, what's the point? No, it's for my friends, I want to share. What else? You need this, and okay, we drink that, and then he goes for the next one. We're like, no, stop, like, fuck, don't do this, man. It's like, whatever.
I know. To me, it all tastes, I don't know, it has, red wine's red wine and white wine's white wine. I don't really taste the difference.
Cool. I have one special red, it's white, actually, it's a white wine, which I really, really dig. And that's a Hungarian thing. It's called Tokai, which is, Tokai is a part of Hungary, and there are the hills and the microclimate.
Oh, wow.
It's really, really, really good. It's like they've been making wines there for hundreds and hundreds of years.
That's
and
crazy.
That special place, there is this special kind of grape which they harvest, and after when they leave some on the plants, as I understood, and then when the frost come or something, then they harvest the rest. So it's like very juicy. The other two type of grapes, or the earlier harvest with the later harvest together,
right?
And you got this really oilish, very tasteful. Actually, it's kind of sweet. It's kind of dessert, or I don't know how to put it. It has this so special taste. That thing I love. That one day, but I think it's more evil somehow to do the opium.
That sounds more cool, right? I got you.
It's more me. So.
Yeah, in New York they have like these. I hope I'm saying this right. Kratom or kratom, and it's supposed to be like kind of opium, and they have these bars that sell that kind of liquor. These kratom bars, and that it's the same kind of thing. It's that extra level. My one friend swears by it.
Man, I'm sure. You guys have so much stuff over. I guess it's hard to bring anything new under the sun. Maybe not. Maybe that poppy drink.
Oh, that sounds really cool because it does sound metal, and poppy is different than stuff that we have. I never heard of that,
Also, most of countries, you can't have the poppy.
Exactly.
Like, in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Like that,
that's true.
Made fucking dope, but it's not like regular. I think it's really unique, and then again, I love the taste. The taste is really...
Oh, it sounds good.
I want to share with my friends. And,
yeah.
Most of the people I show, or, it's not it's not really popular in Hungary. It exists, but no one knows about it because everybody is making this kind of drink from the fruits, But you can make it from other plants too, like anything that's good for human consumption. Not anything, but from poppy you can do it, and that's the most important, and it's really...
I never knew that.
The metal bars,
yeah. No, trust me, if people saw that here, I know how people are. Certain people would go nuts for that because it does have that, like, metal. If you see poppy and then metal, and it's black especially, it gives it that cool vibe.
You don't get headache, it's good quality, it's good shit. I will make sure it's gonna be perfect. And that guy teaches at the universities of Hungary, he's a booze doctor. This guy
booze
a
doctor.
Booze professor. It's really fucking cool, So it's gonna be really, I think it's gonna be really high-end drink. Of course, these are beside music. Music is my main thing, my main love. But now, since this in the Armageddon, I have time in other stuff too.
So what happened? Like, did you have tour dates and stuff? I mean, did everything get canceled? Could have COVID? That sucks.
Everything is fucked. Everything is canceled. Actually, nothing is canceled. Everything is postponed.
Postponed. Right.
Postponed again. Now I heard like it's always going further and further. Like I heard now, we had the U.S. tour. It was postponed to next January, but I think, well, maybe I should not say this. I don't know if it's official or not, but I think it's gonna go further because honestly, when you look at, it doesn't look like it's gonna happen in January.
Yeah.
It's because, and I understand that promoters, club owners are already in trouble. No one can take any fucking risk in this business. So it's just going further and further.
That's a
I
shame.
heard, one of our tours, which was supposed to be in March, it's already moved to next December.
Oh my God.
Which is like more than 1 year from now on, right? Because we musicians, and I'm not all of us, not just talking about myself, our main...
Yeah, everybody.
Is the show, because, the CD sales are okay. Luckily with metal, our fans still very supportive, They are amazing, but still it's nothing like used to be, and still there is the online stuff, and, everybody can listen online, and this brings you something, but, everything is basically about the live show, because there's some merch as well, and people have fun, and
you're together, right? You get together.
For me, the whole point of playing music is to play it live.
Well, absolutely.
Maybe some experimental, whatever crazy shit like a studio project, but not. No, and for me, I always been into the idea of like I make CD or create music to play it after and show it live, play it live, because I also like a music fan, you know, I'm a music lover, so when I go out, I only go out when there is a show. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
it's a little bit boring, you know. You go to a pub or something, like when there's a show, it's suddenly I must go.
Yeah.
So that's no question. And then I know that I will meet my friends who are the type of people who I like, you know, and it's gonna be a good time. And also the problem with it, for instance, with the live shows with Mayhem, we were supposed to do one of this live thing and stuff, and there was actually a good offer, like a big production. But, you know what? I think it's still kind of like, it's kind of like, you know, because, okay, we do this show, and then you watch at home on your laptop, or what the fuck, you know?
It's so different. You're not getting...
Your friend get the experience, not get the real shit. You don't... The whole point when you go to a show, it's not 1 hour, it's a 6 hours.
Yes.
You go out, you meet your friends, you get a couple of drinks, then you go down, you watch another band.
Then you have fun.
You know, I don't know, have a few other drinks there or whatever, you know, and then you jump around and go crazy. Maybe,
Yeah, exactly. You just...
After the show, you go with your friends for another place, after party, who knows what. It's a whole experience. You can't just have that online.
It's so different.
Not with our style of music.
Because you guys are theatrical almost with what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was going to ask. Like, besides singing, do you like play guitar? I'm not sure of this. Like, did you play the guitar instruments, or are you solely a singer? Because I know the sono.
I can play a bit of guitar, but normally I don't do them. That's where my channel is, you know. That's where I don't have to think anything. My vein, you know, it's in my cells.
On this interview one time, you did this sound. I never heard anything like it. It sounded not even human. I can't even explain what you did, but it was so cool. This thing with your voice. Oh my God, it was so amazing. I just was like, damn, it's impressive. I think, my gosh, how did he learn? Like you were saying, it's breathing techniques, like all how you breathe and stuff.
That's the thing. I think about vocals, like you basically play on your body, any type of singing, but even with the extreme, because in the extreme music, you really have to work with your muscles, but, excuse me, it's not like... It's very important which muscle and when and exactly how, you know. Otherwise, you know, it's if you want to push a car, you have to push on the right direction. If you push from the side, it's not gonna move forward. I don't know how to put it.
Yeah,
you know,
I get what you're saying.
The right, like some of your parts of your body, like down, you know, around your stomach and belly area, it's the special muscles really have to work. But I think as you go higher at your throat, you have to release more and more. But then again, because we play extreme music, it has to be a release and a stretching at the same time, which is very hard to explain, especially by phone or right now.
Oh,
so it's like a complex thing. Otherwise, you can do it. Anyone can do it, but try to do this for 1.5 hours.
Oh my God!
Because then you start to have pain, or you lose your voice, and it's also about the power, because if you push it too hard, it's not gonna get louder or more. So there is also a certain limit how far you can push, because if you push it over, you just flip over, kind of. You know, it's not gonna get. So you have to find a peak.
Okay.
A focus of the whole thing.
Of what you're trying to do.
That could be something maybe I could try to do online, like a lesson.
Yeah. I'm telling you, people will respond.
About it, but I don't know.
I know what you mean.
A lot of people asking actually, but it's somehow I don't know. It's so time consuming, you know, like sitting at home for hours and like talking to these kids. I would like to do maybe a seminarium or a class, you know. I don't know, one day.
So much, like you said, online. It's cool that at least we have this, because back in the day we didn't even have this. I don't know what we would have done. But it does stink because when you're together, it does have this difference. It just makes it that much more special because the energy in the crowd just makes it. That's what makes the concert.
That's the point of the live show, that you feel the energy like flowing back and forth, like what I give, I get back, like send it back, you know, and I can see the faces and look in the eyes, and just I got on fire, you know, and I can see those people or kids or whoever, you know, getting really intense, you know, and that's and you know, it's cool to see also when you play music, sometimes it's like, it could be two type of different experiment as well. Like sometimes you feel like, oh, it's a cool music, really aggressive and shit, and then you go out, and if you see the band like playing it like not without any attitude, you know, or any good vibe or the right energy, you might get disappointed. You see a band, but you would not even care to listen so much, but when you see them live, like, holy fuck, what is this shit, you know?
Right.
And you just like start to, you know.
Yeah, they really take off.
It's the magic of a live stage.
Oh, it is magical. That's right.
You really have to stand, you know, when you are on stage, it's such a special feeling. Like,
oh,
really
I can't even imagine.
For the words and like really be, you know, there, like, yeah, it's like, that's what I want to
It's
tell
working.
You, or this is what comes from you, or comes via, you know, my channels, or whatever, you know, who, it depends on who is, what kind of personality you are, but, you know, it is, that's the magic. That's where things happen for
and
me.
when, like, what, out of all the places, like, what was some of your favorite, you know, who gives the most energy that you can think of off the top of your head? Like, what venues have you been to that give you that?
Wow, so many.
It's probably,
So many venues. It's hard to say. Like, sometime, like, we play in a big festival, like, say Mayhem, you know, we play in front of like 10,000 of people. Like, we play in Vikernes, you know, like, I don't know, 80,000 people, like, insane, like, whenever
that's
you see
gotta
people
going nuts.
I had like that also, like, I'm going on stage. Like, one time it was in the daylight, you know, it was okay, but, you know, I see far the people are just, like, hanging or just having some beer, you know, or whatever, but fuck ever, you know, okay, it's cool to play in this big crowd, but, you know, I didn't feel that intensity, and some other time, we are on a tour, you know, and we arrived at a venue, and I just look at the stage like, are you serious? Where the fuck we gonna put the drums, you know?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Right, right.
And then people show up and it's completely packed, and then it's like, you know, you feel like the whole building is just like destroyed almost. Like, it's such an energy. So it's two type of things, but for me, I don't know.
It's hard to put a thing. Yeah.
It's like in US, there are really cool stuff, you know, good, like big cities are always great for us, but sometimes the smaller ones too. Like, you know, I mean, I love to play in the South. New York is always good, of course. These countries but sorry, this cities, like the big cities are always good, you know.
Yeah.
But even like Austin, you know, I don't know. It's like cool.
It's hard to say.
It could be sometime, not really with Mayhem, but with Sun.
What kind of? They're more They're like Sun is more of. They say I haven't heard too much of Sun, but the one guy says like your voice is like operatic when you sing with them. I mean, how do they differ? Like, what is Sun compared to Mayhem?
It's very different. It's very experimental. It's more meditative. It's really loud. No drums, guitars, and with that band we became really famous lately, or the band became big.
Yeah, I hear it more and more. Yeah.
Like some cathedrals, you know, and like art spaces and museums and stuff like that. That's cool, you know. I didn't play on their last records. I didn't tour with them for a while, but I've been around with them for like 10 years more, you know. I've been always this kind of guest for a decade or more than like 1.5 decade guest, you know, so part of the band. It's kind of funny. but now I have so many projects at the same time. I just had like, okay, now it's time to do all the shit what I had in my head. Mostly music I'm talking about. So
now you get the
started
chance.
A bunch of new bands, all different and so interesting. Which I don't know. I would pick, for instance, one is which is the closest to metal is a new band called Electron, like Darktron but Electron, and our sign is the electric chair. It's like an industrial metal band, like following the steps or influenced by. To me, it's one of my biggest influence ever is still beside metal is like Skinny Puppy and Frontline Assembly, you know. So it's kind of like Skinny Puppy mixed with Ministry, and it's kind of presented today. Heavy guitar riffs, you know, very temples, and like the lineup is amazing too, because it's my old friend from Italy. We played together already in 2000 in a band called Abouit, which was industrial black metal band from Italy. And one of the guitar player, I mean, with the two ex-guitar players, because now it's a different lineup with that band, but the old guys who are actually younger than me, but they're getting aged now too. But anyway, they like as Frank, you know, is a really good friend of mine and is my brother, you know, and that's so good to do this shit
nice.
with him. He's got this band called Alien Vampires, which is like this extreme industrial kind of a little bit this club feeling, like dance,
right?
But like Hostiko and stuff, if you know these bands, or I don't know if you know this, like it's a new way of industrial new. I mean, it started in the 90s, the end of 90s somehow, but you know, like Combi Christ and stuff, they were like that type of thing, but so with him and with his the other guy, he's also from Italy, Dario, who's a great qualified musician and drummer and also programming and stuff. Had also another band called Plasma Pool from the past, which was actually before I joined Mayhem, my band in Hungary. So the keyboard player from that band, which was actually a dark electro band, you know. So it's like it's like connected to metal, because, you know, like Frank is like, he came from death metal. He's an amazing death metal guitarist, you know, but he went into this electro-industrial, which could be my influence too. So we just influenced each other. And then, of course, last but not least, very important, Joey Jordison is an old friend of mine, you know, from the Slipknot.
Slipknot's very popular around here, yeah.
Yeah, he's out of that shit or whatever. He's out of that band, but I mean, it's okay, but too commercial for my taste, but
right.
And whatever. But Joey is a great guy, you know, he's an old friend of mine again, and we've been talking about so long about this different type of music. He's been also a big Skinny Puppy fan. This is how I to him once, like, dude, because, you know, in metal it's not so popular, but he's, you know, he's so open-minded, and so he's got such a big knowledge of all these different bands. Up on the idea, it's even not announced, so you are one of the first I even tell this.
That's not an exclusive. I'll take it.
It's a very fresh, it's a very new thing. But we already made like a bunch of cover songs just to warm up, you know.
That's cool.
We play from distance, you know. This is a cool thing now that we can technology of the internet, which is crap, but for this reason it's good. Point is that I have, you know, Mayhem is my main band. That's extreme as fuck. It's black metal. It's on the top for me. You know, whatever people say or think, for me, it's, even if I would not play this music, I would like that band. Try another band similar. I like to do the other stuff on the side, which is I really need as well, because, you know, this, for me, it's inspiring. Of one of my side inspires the other side, and vice versa. So if I would do only Mayhem, I would feel, I mean, it would drive me maybe not crazy, but I don't know, somehow my creativity.
Your creativity,
you know,
yeah, stifled.
It needs these different things so I can experience in these different fields, you know, and now I have And of course, I have Tormentor, which is my.
I was just gonna say that.
Play again. Actually, we played at Maryland Death Fest like 2 years last year. I don't.
Nice.
That's what I love about US. You know, like especially was for this kind of old school.
Oh, they must have went nuts.
They were so supportive. You know, we had such a great time and super cool show, and everybody was like on fire, you know.
Oh, I can imagine. New York is really, New York is a good place, and
And that was in Philly.
A lot of people say Philly is their favorite place. That's where I live, Philly, but they say a lot of people like Philly the best because we just are so supportive of when anybody comes, we're just like right with them. Like whatever they do, everyone says our crowds are the most giving back. You know how you say?
Maybe, I would agree. I mean, that's been always good. We played in Philly even with Sun in this cathedral. It was really cool. Yeah, Philly's been always great. You're right. I must say. It's been always cool.
A lot of small venues.
The Maryland Death Fest is really, it's a cool festival for sure. You guys would need more.
I would love it.
When this shit is over, hopefully soon, you know, then on the New World Order, I would give that order, you know, like give more festivals and do more festivals in USA, you know, like in Europe, we have, you know, in summer in Europe, we have like 50 festivals at least. You can just do a festival. You come over, you know, and you can have like a tourism, like festival tourism. Every weekend, you just travel around Europe and you have a bunch of festivals all around, you know. You can, and all fucking cool, you know, like talking about extreme metal. You can have festival. You can do this whole summer, every weekend, visit some other festivals, you know, that
that's
Friday
nice.
and Saturday. It's really, really cool, you know, and some of them are 1 day, some of them are more, you know, like places like Hellfest. That's amazing. Became like very successful. It started up like a very extreme metal festival, but now even Ozzy plays there, you know, and Mayhem.
Wow.
And they you know, they even do this decoration. So you see in the night, like everywhere, these fires, you know, burning, and these junkyard cars. You can jump around on them, you know, and like, it's fucking funny. Like there is a helicopter, you know, which had a mayday, how you say, like when it's like bam,
you know, like simulating what happened. That's cool. Yeah, right.
Like a movie prop, you know.
That's awesome.
Cool. And you just go around, and it's very funny. But there is a bunch of festivals. Brutal Assault is in Czech, in an old fortress.
Oh, okay.
I love that festival. It's so good. And it's not so big as Hellfest, but it still holds like, you know, 10,000 people, something like that. It's really, really cool. You know, Grass Pop, that's in Belgium, it is. And that's also really cool. That's a big one as well, you know. Of course, there is Vikernes, which I mentioned earlier. That's the biggest. They have extreme metal, but they are a little bit more for this old school power metal. Like all the festivals have a little bit different tone, of course. Like otherwise, it would be always the same.
Yeah.
So all have a bit of this unique style. Norway is full of festivals. You know, there is Inferno Festival. It's a small one, 2,000-3,000 people, but it's really, really dedicated, you know. And so these are like really cool events, and I would say you guys should do something about it. Problem in US, because I'm not politician, you know. I don't say whatever. Music, business, you should let us come, you know, because we bring business there. We bring there with this shit, you know, in a way, like, you know, when someone books you, you know, those people work there that night and stuff. It's ridiculous. Like, you know, any band, any artist comes to the United States, have to pay $5,000, thing like that, just to get a fucking visa. This is just bullshit. This must be stopped. This is stupid. The US band comes to Europe, it's free. That's how it should be, right? That should be the right thing, but the other way around. So that's why you book these bands. But every band you book, you have to pay extra $5,000 to bring them over on the top of the whole shit. To be precise, it can be, I think it can be around 2.5, 3, but then you don't bring your crew. If you bring your crew, even one person crew, it's 5K at least, you know. To have a lawyer in the US, that's right, because you have a lawyer in the US. This lawyer, there are these agencies who are working just to fix your visas, and also it's so much bullshit. You have to send all these articles about your band, sales reports, I don't know, interviews. They don't like it online. It has to be a printed press. It's stupid. I mean, but it's not a new thing. It's been like this
forever.
It's been like this. And now I heard it's even going to get. I heard the rumors that they want to even lift the price. I'm like, come on. It should be cancelled. It should be deleted.
It doesn't even make sense. It
doesn't make any sense. That's why you can't have small bands here. Or just come over for one show. No one does it. Everybody has to do then like a fucking 1 month tour, because otherwise it's no point. And the visa now, it's just for one show. It used to be for 1 year at least. Now you have to book ahead, and if you can have maximum 1 year for this price.
That's
but then
insane.
you have to prove that you will have like one show in January and another show in the same year of December. Otherwise, you're not going to have it. You know, otherwise you're going to have it just for a couple of, as long as you can. So it's like, hey, you don't want to know. It's completely.
It's such a ripoff. Like, it's such a money-making. I know what you're saying. It's just, it's like they do with everything. They ruin it. It's a shame.
Of course, the tax, all the rest we do, you know, like the whole
shit.
It's just the visa. You still have the IRS. We have to deal with that shit. Everything the same, of course, legal. But on the top of everything, it's 5K every time. Every turn, say, tour or one show, it doesn't matter. It's 5K or 2, 3 if you have. It depends if you bring your crew, you know. But we need, you know, sometimes at least you need one guy, you know.
Yeah, to help. Absolutely.
I mean, you know, with a certain production, you just can come over and
just by yourself. Yeah,
exactly.
There's no way.
And then it's fucked. That is fucked up, and it's good to mention. Because we should all mention this, that this is wrong. Because you know what? Nobody knows. People don't know this. They just say, hey, I never see this band here. Why? What the fuck? You know, that's why. If you're a small band, you could come over to New York. You fly over. You book a flight. You know, sometimes it's cheap because it's so frequent. You know.
Yeah.
And then you just do a show and you go home, and it could be easy, but no, forget it, because there's a 5K on the top, 300 small club, up the budget completely. And this thing is made for big productions like Madonna, you know. It's totally fucking bullshit. This is the worst. Otherwise, everything is perfect in US. It's fucking great to play there.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I love to come over. I love to tour. I love the clubs, whatever, you know. But this is always a process, you know. And this every time.
Yeah,
okay,
I get it.
Have like a couple of times, then it's easier. Then you only have to pay and just fill the papers. But in the beginning, it's even a bit more complicated, you know. And like.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Bullshit. Yeah, it sucks. It's a hassle.
Back to the music, you know, which is more interesting. I'm also restarting my label now. Pretty interesting for some people. It's called Saturnus, like the planet Saturnus production.
Awesome.
I'm gonna release only my shit there, which is only my bands and my projects from the past which never been released, or I get them re-released. So I got the Tormentor, but I'm gonna do that Plasma Pool I mentioned, a bunch of things, you know. And now I'm doing this Life Eternal album, which is a Mayhem record.
Oh, okay.
This is like the very special, like it's more like for collectors, but actually it's really have the spirit. It's the songs I recorded on tape while I was in the studio, so it's a different mix, and also it's with the original lineup with the Mysteriis Dom Sathanas special things. So that's things like the special stuff I'm gonna put out there, and we will see what, you know.
So this is your own label that you're putting together now?
Yeah, it's a small my label, and I'm not gonna release other bands yet.
Right.
I don't know in the future. I don't have time for that. That's the
Yeah.
problem, to promote other
Time is the enemy.
It is, because
I know.
these ideas I want to make, you know. For instance, I just did a show. I have a band called, I don't know, I call it Extreme Philharmonics. But,
okay.
It's with Bernard Gender, my friend, who's an Austrian composer. It's philharmonic music, like a whole band, a whole orchestra, and me.
Oh my God, that's cool.
That's from Cryptopsy, like extreme drummers.
Oh, nice.
And extreme drum, extreme vocal, and philharmonic. It is super fucking cool. And this is not like bands normally do that. Yeah, we got a song, which is originally a metal song or whatever, and okay, we get some philharmonics to play to follow it, you know?
Like right.
No, this music is made for that. So it's insanely complex. It's so insane and very intense.
And
intense. Now I had my second show with them. I just played in Vienna. The first show was in Frankfurt in Germany.
Oh, really?
And it's with the Frankfurt Ensemble, and that's the name of the orchestra we are playing this with. And you know, they played like with Frank Zappa and stuff, so they are like very like this more open-minded orchestra, you know. And
yeah. They work with you.
It's fucking amazing experience for me too, and people just love it, you know. Like it's been super successful because it's something again you never heard with the philharmonic. They're burning like you know, it's so heavy shit, you know, with everything, percussion, tubular bells, the blows, you know, the strings, the full-on shit, you know.
I love drumming too. That is my favorite.
And these are just my main projects now. I have a couple of other, like, you know, experimental, like Hiedelem, it's a friend of mine, which is like only vocals and drums. I'm also with a fusion jazz drummer, you know. It's really, but I'm using a lot of effects there. Yeah, I multiply my voice, you know, and with the drum. And actually, that's coming from my solo project, which is called Void of Voices. I use my vocal as an instrument, and I sending through these other instruments, which is like effects, you know, like guitar effects, something bizarre, like experimenting. You know, and like loop stations, so I can multiply my voice, you know, and like make like these big chantings, like mantras, and really, really funny to do.
And that's in Germany, or that's everywhere?
That's just me.
Yeah, just you. Yeah. Oh, that's
cool. Me, and I played in US actually. I played with for my friend Paul Booth, you know, the tattooist from New York.
When were you last in the US?
That was actually, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. Paul is great, you know. He has this amazing art gallery. It's not just a tattoo studio anymore. And he's supporting like a lot of the surrealist painters, amazing stuff. He's a really, really great dude, a great artist, and he's, you know, opening up like a space for these other artists, and I played on his opening, you know, one of his galleries opening. He invited us.
Nice.
He invited me, and I'm really, really cool. I also support. There was another show in New York. I supported Last Mord.
Okay.
Also, I played another show in New York already with Void of Voices, and not only played in New York, but just came to my mind now. And there I played in this old synagogue. You know, and before I did a sound check, was very uncomfortable. It was like, you guys, what is this shit?
Yeah, like what is going on?
You're kidding me? It's not fun. I don't know if it's functioning synagogue or not, but you know, it was
that is crazy.
Old synagogue, like 100 years old, like US old, you know, like old. It was like, I'm not sure if I can let this shit on. I was like, you know, almost like. I was worried, like maybe he's not gonna let me do this shit, you know, do my news. And then it was the most amazing because after the show, he was another man. He's an old man. He came to me and completely like blown away. He expressed like how much he adored this stuff, like apologized a lot, like skeptic in the afternoon at the sound check, but now I totally changed. It was amazing and stuff. I was like, wow, that's really cool to hear. I made like music for a silent movie called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It's more like it's really like a moving theater or a film theater, because it's like sets on the movie, like it's still like you can feel it's like they just film a theater. And I was thinking, I imagine myself like, you know, back in the days they had these piano players in the cinemas, so I was
that would be you.
Player, but it was just me and with this voices stuff, you know, just my voice and this chants and all this crazy shit.
Awesome.
And that was so cool festival, and I really adore Phil for that. You know, he's great. He's a great guy. And I heard after that they had some problems. Like one of his colleague and his very close pal and friend passed away just after the festival. I don't know, and then it stopped. It's really sad because that was in Austin. That was really cool. One of the best times, you know, I mean, especially with my solo stuff.
Oh, wow.
I started with Phil, you know, here, and I hope my blood will bring it back, you know, one day, because that was fucking cool. Like movies, horror movies, and music. That was
I love horror movies. Yes.
And cinemas, always movies, but you could see the show, and there was bands like Goblin that normally did the scores for like old Italian horror movies and stuff. And
they're so creepy.
Like really interesting combo, interesting idea, and I met a lot of great people, like cool
that is
artists there, and but it was still about music, but also horror movies. You could see it. I love that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And mixing it together, that's really cool. The stuff that you've seen, that's really, it's just awesome to be a part of such, because, I mean, I always wrote books and stuff, so I didn't see anything like that, but I know what you mean, like, just to explore that artistic nature inside yourself, I just love to do this stuff, you know. It's so good to experience and express and these different fields and new horizons always. Exactly. Yes, new horizons. Like even because of COVID and it's all like Armageddon, like you said, now you got this your CBD and you have like the poppy.
Opium booze.
Yeah. You know, it's
a new thing because I only did music so far. This is when I try myself.
Yeah, it's another open door. Yeah, it's something different, you know? It opens a different, I know what you mean. It's cool though. It sounds really cool.
I keep you updated about the boost.
Definitely.
That's gonna be the next thing. First I wanna do the CBD, and this has to happen very soon too, you know.
Yeah, definitely keep me updated because
this year. I wanna do this year as well, you know.
Like that'd be awesome.
I just need the time for it.
Yeah, I hear you about time.
I can't do this much, you know. I can do it's already too much, a lot of stuff at the same time. So I can't, you know. Otherwise, everything slows down so much if I pick up more and more things at the same time. So I need to finish first. I mean, even if just text me if you have more questions.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, I can, you know, we can complete this. But I think it was a bunch of stuff.
That was perfect. I appreciate it so much. And definitely, whenever you get any pictures, anything, I'll put it right up on the website. It'll look nice.
Yeah, keep in touch.
Yeah.
Please do it. I sent you this one, but I can send you an email too, or I can keep you about the promotion.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that because that helps me, you know.
Yeah, and it helps me. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, no problem. Oh, it was so good talking to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
so,
take care.
That's Attila from Mayhem and Sono and all his good stuff.
Thanks for the interview. You have a great rest of your day and keep up and don't believe everything about this fucking virus.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. I'm not just saying, okay, I like some conspiracy theories, but it's not just that. I mean, really, this is
something is going.
So many blues, but this is something
This
wrong.
is
like
this is
shit, but
ridiculous.
I hope it's gonna be
over.
Over as soon as possible, you know.
Yeah.
And,
you can't stop the world forever. You know?
We need to stop this because we need to find a solution. We need to play live music again.
Oh, thank you.
Take care.
Oh,
okay.
you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
You, no problem. Thank you. Okay, that was taped a bit ago. If there's any disruptions in sound, it's because there was a lot of interference that day. Somebody was mowing the lawn outside, and it was driving me crazy. So I tried the best I can to cut that all out. This is Debbie Q, and you're listening to The Right Shoe. Thanks again to Attila. That was great. Excellent.